Start with a visual that defines everything we're about to discuss. Imagine a float plane screaming off the water in the protected inlets of British Columbia, leaving behind an insulated world of stability and heading south, straight into chaos.
Yeah.
On board is a 16-year-old girl named Molly. She's clutching a fiddle case, and she's carrying this immense pressure of a desperate long-shot mission into the crumbling remnants of the United States.
That image is just, it's perfect. Molly and her fiddle, which is, this piece of culture, of art being smuggled past a broken border, it just perfectly encapsulates the high-stakes tension captured in these documents one of our listeners sent us.
It really does.
So this is going to be a crucial deep dive into a near-future North America that's defined by scarcity, by violence, all following what the sources just simply call the collapse.
And our mission today is to use Molly's personal journey as a lens to really understand this new world. We're aiming for a shortcut, to get you well informed about the logistical nightmares, the unexpected power structures, and just the sheer ingenuity required to survive in a society that's grappling with defunct infrastructure and, rising black markets.
And these documents are incredibly rich. They paint this picture of a deeply, deeply stratified post-collapse society. You've got the safety of Canada on one side and the brutal reality of the U.S. on the other.
So we've distilled this mountain of information into 3 key areas of analysis. We want to move past just the plot summary and really focus on the structural consequences.
Right. So first, we have to define the dual causes and the resulting conditions of the collapse itself. You have to understand how this world got made.
Okay.
Second, we'll analyze the structure of the black market economy, focusing on this shadow power they call the organization and all the social dangers that Molly faces because of it.
And finally, we'll get into the incredible scrap metal engineering feat that was required for Molly's family to execute their desperate escape plan. It's really something.
It's amazing.
So let's unpack the world of the collapse first. Molly is traveling 10 years after the defining moment, the Great Collapse of 2031. And it wasn't a single event, was it? Not a war or a plague.
No, not at all. It was a disastrous combination of 2 factors that sequentially and systematically just brought the global economy to its knees.
So we have to start with the root cause, the geopolitical one, the first factor.
The seizure of the last of the oil by the big governments. That's the term the sources use.
And that move, whether it was driven by desperation or control, what did it do?
It instantly triggered a worldwide economic crash. But the most immediate, the most visceral impact was on transportation. Widespread, cheap, and rapid travel just.
Yeah.
It ceased to exist overnight.
Right.
The sources really emphasize this. Molly's family route from BC to Gresham, Oregon. It used to be a simple, predictable 12-hour drive. Now it's a perilous, multi-day ordeal.
And the specifics of that ordeal tell you everything you need to know about the new energy economy. She needs fishing boats. Then there are trains running on these ancient kerosene lamps.
And illegally bribed float plane pilots.
Yeah.
The ability to move efficiently, quickly, or reliably is just gone. Cars, ground transportation for the average person, they are fundamentally obsolete.
It's a total regression. Society is forced into these slower, more regional, and far, far more dangerous methods of movement.
And that energy collapse had immediate political fallout. The sources make a really critical distinction here. The U.S. government is technically still intact. It still has its institutions, customs, transit authorities, even a vague military presence. But it is functionally broke. It can't collect taxes because the economy has shifted. It's centered on barter, not liquid wealth, and the population has dispersed. They've moved out of the cities.
So this vacuum of legitimate funded authority, that's the structural prerequisite for everything else that happens to Molly.
Exactly. Which brings us to the second factor, and this is the biological event that really redefined day-to-day survival for the average person. The cattle virus pandemic.
And this wasn't a huge human-killing event, not like historical plagues. It was different.
It was a systemic breakdown. The virus was just unstoppable in cattle herds, forcing this mass slaughter of millions of animals worldwide. It did lead to about 200,000 human deaths, which is horrifying, but that was actually a secondary effect.
And the sources give us this really essential economic insight here. The scale of the economic devastation from the cattle virus was arguably even greater than the oil seizure.
It was, because it destroyed specialized global supply chain jobs instantly.
We're talking about the total overnight collapse of the entire fast food industry.
The entire industry and everything that depended on it. It caused unprecedented unemployment. I mean, you have to think about the sheer number of suddenly obsolete jobs. It was astronomical.
It's that fragility of specialization, isn't it? People who worked in logistics, food processing, corporate management for these massive food chains.
Their skills became useless overnight.
It wasn't just a food shortage. It was a permanent change to how people ate and how they worked. You had to learn to farm again, or you would starve.
And the documents confirm that the fear surrounding meat consumption is just pervasive. Survival meant reverting to these hyper-local, resilient food systems.
And only specific organic farms were sometimes spared from the virus.
Right, which is a detail that raises some really serious questions about the safety and risk of eating black market beef later in the story. You have to be either desperate or, supremely wealthy to even take that risk.
So all this context brings us directly to this tale of two societies, the Canadian island, where Molly starts her journey, versus the fragmented U.S. where she lands.
And her home in BC is described as an insulated pocket of prosperity.
How did they manage that?
Well, that insulation wasn't an accident. It was engineered through resource independence. Their community is self-sufficient. It relies on a localized, resilient economy that's built on hard work and, crucially, good farmland.
And their economy is mostly barter.
Mostly, yes. But they maintain a necessary link to the outside world. They export high-value perishables, lettuce, leeks, spinach over to Vancouver Island.
For the cash they need. For things like Molly's trip.
Exactly. And, crucially, their farm relies on solar panels. They made that energy shift before the collapse really hit, which insulated them immediately from the fuel crisis that just crippled the United States.
But that shift, when Molly goes from Canada to the U.S., it's described as a cultural and architectural whiplash.
It is. Seattle, where she first lands, is a true dystopia. It's a crumbling shell of a great city, covered in obscene graffiti and just littered with trash.
The documents suggest a mass urban flight, right? People just left the cities.
They did. Most inhabitants moved out into the suburbs or smaller towns where they could share houses and, grow food. It's a complete reversal of the last 100 years of demographics.
It's the visual sign of that tax collection failure we were talking about. If the government can't afford sanitation, police, or even basic maintenance, the city just degrades rapidly.
And the sources do note that Portland is slightly better off. It's built on two rivers, which inherently helps with goods transportation, and that allows the city to maintain at least some kind of functioning job base.
So geography, again, dictates resilience when centralized infrastructure fails.
Always. And this whole environment creates this fascinating tension between what you could call technological hangovers and innovations. The ghosts of the old world are everywhere, but they're all defunct.
Like cyberspeak.
Right. Molly's mother tried to contact Grandpa through this system called cyberspeak, but his account was just closed.
Right.
The digital infrastructure wasn't maintained.
And the retina scanners at the border. People resisted them for privacy reasons before the collapse.
And now they're this brittle, often failing gatekeeper. It's ironic.
The functional technology that's left is also fascinating. The Pelota House, which probably belonged to the pilot Molly was with.
It still has a sophisticated, high-definition projection computer with an infrared keyboard. So secure communication and robust computing power are still available, but...
And only to the absolute elite.
Exactly. And then you have the technology of the average person, which is defined by scarcity. The most poignant example is the solar phone that Dad insisted Molly bring.
It's this old piece of equipment, and the battery is so degraded.
It only holds a charge for 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
That's the limit of reliable personal communication for Molly. A half-minute window to convey a life-or-death message before the line goes dead. It's a perfect symbol of just how precious, unreliable, and fleeting resources are post-collapse.
And that 30-second window is all the buffer she has. So Molly's insulated life ends the instant she touches down in Seattle. Her international border crossing is immediately defined by criminality and corruption.
It highlights the total lack of legitimate avenues for necessary human mobility.
She's 16, traveling alone, and it's a prison-level offense.
Right. Her Aunt Poppy, who works for the Canadian Department of Agriculture, had to bribe the pilot extensively. This is where you see the high price of movement. It's not just a fine you might pay. It's an institutional bribe to subvert international law just to run a family errand.
And the U.S. system seems designed to catch people, not facilitate them, when Molly tries to use the U.S. Customs retina scanner.
The sources note it only works with American passports, so of course it sets off this blaring siren.
And the border official, Bill, he would never let a minor into the country unaccompanied. This forces Poppy's contact, Tyler, to admit they have to break some more rules just to get her out of the customs area.
It shows you the incredible fragility of the state apparatus. A simple technological glitch immediately escalates into this high-stakes emergency. The government's authority is just superficial.
So once she's past customs, the reality of decaying transit hits her hard.
The train from Seattle to Portland is slow. It's lit by kerosene lamps. The conductor confirms the new reality. He just says, takes a lot longer these days.
And the infrastructure itself is failing from lack of maintenance. South of Tacoma, a mudslide just washes out the track completely.
Which forces the passengers into a literal forced march. They have to walk 2 miles, it's over 3 kilometers, to Olympia to catch the southbound train.
And this detail is so critical because Molly has lost her sensible farm shoes. She's wearing these impractical heels her Aunt Poppy gave her.
So she's walking barefoot on rough ground and broken concrete.
The physical toll is immediate and brutal. It's such a stark contrast to her safe upbringing. The documents are grimly specific here.
11 blisters, raw spots on each heel, and an inflamed puncture wound, which is later revealed to be from a piece of green glass.
That detail just shows you how quickly the body breaks down when it's faced with the unforgiving realities of this world. Her pain is literally evidence of the systemic failure.
And the breakdown of social trust is pervasive. She is immediately targeted.
Before the march, back in Seattle, she's confronted by this desperate, toothless old woman who tries to mug her.
And Molly's forced to lie about having cash and barter a cheese sandwich just for her own release. Starvation drives this immediate, brutal street crime.
Then she encounters the more organized exploitation, the kind that profits from the chaos.
At the Olympia platform, she falls victim to the plaid man scam. This man, in his horrendous plaid suit, demands money as security for a wheelchair.
Claiming it's his personal property.
Right. And the conductor later reveals the chair belongs to the station. Molly was robbed of nearly all her remaining cash by a scammer who has basically institutionalized petty theft. He's exploiting the fact that there is no functioning law enforcement to stop him.
This is a perfect example of how that U.S. government weakness manifests. If taxes aren't collected, police and local services just vanish.
And the vacuum is filled by opportunistic criminals.
Which is a trend that reaches its logical conclusion in Portland with the MAX system paradox.
The MAX train system is theoretically a free social service, but only for county residents who already have the right pass.
For visitors like Molly, you need a ticket. But they are intentionally made hard to get. A 50 per day allotment, which is always sold out.
So Molly tries to sneak on with a fake ticket, a lavender pass, but for the wrong day. It's a high-risk move, especially after the woman at the ticket counter warned her the fine would lead to arrest if she couldn't pay it.
And this is where we get the first clear glimpse of the shadow government. She's immediately confronted by fare inspectors.
But a stranger still intervenes. He holds out his photo ID, and the fare inspectors show visible, immediate fear of him. They quickly stuff their little computer back in their pocket.
That visible fear, that confirms a power structure that just overrides official government authority. The inspectors looked almost scared of him.
And Spill explains it. The transit company has an arrangement with my employer. Our guests don't have to pay.
This isn't just about a bribe. It's confirmation that the organization's influence extends into publicly mandated services. They can carve out zones of immunity and control.
Which effectively makes them the real authority in the city. It's institutionalized corruption. The transit system serves the organization's needs, not the public's.
And that's why the fare inspectors are so fearful. They're essentially facing an agent of the actual ruling body, even if that body operates illegally.
Absolutely. The government maintains the illusion of control, but the organization holds the practical power of enforcement and mobility. This is the new reality Molly steps into as she reaches Gresham, where she's expecting to find sanctuary with her grandparents.
But the sanctuary is an illusion. The reality of the Buckley household is deception layered on top of ruin.
Molly was sent to rescue her grandmother, but Grandma Catherine is severely impaired. She suffered a stroke, she speaks only gibberish, stares off into space, falls asleep randomly. She is alive, but she is not the stable figure Molly's mother imagined.
And financially, they are completely ruined. Despite living in this massive 4,022 square foot soulless place.
Grandpa Jack insists they have no liquid assets, and the sources reveal the depth of that ruin is visible in the house itself. They have no electricity, and crucially, they had burned most of their valuable possessions, including antique furniture, just for fuel the previous winter.
So they're trapped by their decaying former wealth. They're living in a museum of their past life.
And this is where we really have to pause and analyze Grandpa Jack's psychology. His entire defense mechanism is stubbornness and denial.
He clings to his past professional pride. He dismisses Molly's family's resourceful farm work as useless.
He believes his daughter could have made medical discoveries if she had stayed in pre-med. He's entirely blind to the current needs of survival.
He spends his days polishing his dead 1959 Studebaker Lark, a literal symbol of an obsolete fuel-guzzling past, as a way to maintain routine and ignore the collapse happening right outside his boarded-up windows.
And this denial isn't harmless. It's a profound danger to his family because he refuses to acknowledge the new economic and physical threats they face.
And the local economy reflects this new reality. Molly quickly learns that the organization and black market economics rule Gresham.
The market runs largely on barter, but not because cash is worthless. It's for a far more complex reason.
Exactly. Cash isn't worthless. It's a speculative asset. It's saved only for absolute emergencies or large-scale bribes. Molly is warned that people hoard cash, they prefer to trade goods directly.
It's a crucial economic insight. The average person lacks confidence in banks or centralized institutions, so they keep their limited liquid wealth close. They avoid spending it on everyday transactions, which just reinforces the barter system.
And when Molly tries busking with her fiddle, she's instantly warned, don't play without clearing it with the boss.
They demand a compulsory commission, a fair share of any profits, reinforcing the organization's foundational rule. The house always wins. Any independent profit center is immediately co-opted or it's neutralized.
And the black market leaders are embodied by Spill or Robert. He's a runner, a delivery person for the organization.
Right. He operates as the sanctioned conduit between the limited remaining wealth and the goods the average person just can't get. He provides organic, free-range beef, a highly risky delicacy given the cattle virus, along with cold pop, hyperfoil blankets, and black market sherry.
He's trading on scarcity and risk.
And the sources confirm the organization's operations are comprehensive. They run the market, the gambling, the booze trade. And the consequence of operating outside their system is immediately illustrated by Doug, the neighbor.
Doug accrued gambling debts, and the beating he got, cracked ribs, severe bruising, was a very visible warning. Grandpa Jack confirms this.
Yeah, Grandpa Jack warns Molly they probably would have never seen Doug again if the organization had been truly serious about it.
So this is the organization's triage system for enforcement. Public, visible violence for debt collection serves as a deterrent to the entire community. It ensures compliance without escalating to permanent elimination unless they think it's absolutely necessary.
Right.
Now, Molly, desperate for cash to fund their escape, makes a near-fatal mistake that's based on the old world's value system. She finds a high-risk whiskey stash.
9 bottles of Jameson Gold whiskey. They're hidden in a secret closet behind the bar, which confirms that Grandma was a heavy drinker before her stroke.
And she attempts to sell it unwrapped at the market entrance. The reaction is immediate and terrifying.
She instantly attracts this desperate mob who threaten to rob her and sexually assault her. In a collapse scenario, high-value portable luxury items like scarce sealed whiskey bottles, they are currency. And displaying them without protection is a deadly invitation.
This near disaster requires the intervention of Randall, another member of the organization.
And Randall protects her, but not out of altruism. He does it because she is Spill's associate, and any unauthorized chaos reflects poorly on the organization's control of the market.
He issues a stern final warning, never operate in the market without clearance.
Spill, Robert, is established as the only approved intermediary. The whiskey is eventually sold for 1/4-ounce gold coins, and Molly learns the price is twice that of Canadian whiskey because of its scarcity and quality.
Which confirms that while barter is the norm for essentials, luxury sealed goods command massive inflated cash or gold prices, which just reinforces the economic stratification. So, with the gold secured and the family finally convinced to flee Grandpa, realizing the true danger after seeing the market chaos, the escape hinges on Grandpa's redemption. The Studebaker module.
The car is his precious, polished, but totally dead 1959 Studebaker Lark.
This is a beautiful arc for Grandpa, isn't it? His attachment to the car was pure denial, but his professional pride is what ultimately saves them.
It is. He finds a partial article from an old Today's Mechanics magazine in the hospital waiting room, detailing how to build a self-generating power source.
This obsolete paper technology, combined with Spill providing the missing pages via a scarce downloaded internet file, it bridges the old world's knowledge with the new world's necessity.
And the engineering feat is almost unbelievable when you look at the components versus the result. It's a testament to necessity being the mother of invention.
He builds the module using scrap parts wires, a hose from an inner tube.
2 circular saw blades, string, and duct tape.
It's incredible.
The fact that he can construct a fully functioning, self-generating power source out of literal junk is an amazing achievement. It runs the heavy, steel-bodied car at an estimated 20 miles per hour, though the article claimed a much higher speed for a lighter car.
The point isn't the speed, though.
No, it's the principle. Grandpa leveraged this forgotten, specialized knowledge to create sustainable energy that was completely independent of the failing grid or the organization's control over oil.
But the timeline for this ingenious solution is immediately threatened by macro events. News arrives about the growing threat: polio and quarantine.
The disease is breaking out around the Great Lakes, with confirmed cases spreading as far west as Idaho. And this immediately impacts their exit strategy.
Canada is canceling unnecessary travel. They're setting up quarantine tents, which could mean a 3-week or more delay for anyone trying to get in.
This is a severe threat, not just to their health, but to their mobility.
The urgency is just immense. They have to leave immediately to avoid being trapped in Gresham permanently, especially because Molly's prior activities at the market have raised her profile. They have to get home before the Canadian border clamps down entirely and starts treating them as a biohazard risk.
And that risk is compounded by the organization's internal rules. Spill reveals the strict organization hierarchy. Molly is ranked a level 4 risk after she witnessed Doug's beating.
We need to define this clearly. What does level 4 mean?
A level 4 is considered dangerous enough that they have to be neutralized if they stay in town. It means they cannot leave. But they're not yet worth the institutional risk or the resources required for an outright assassination. That's reserved for level 8 or higher.
So it's an internal triage system for threats. They don't want Molly to testify about their violence, but they won't waste resources hunting her down unless she tries to escape.
Exactly. And adding to all this tension, Spill, Robert, he's also on a clock. He has to run away before he turns 21 or be forced to join the organization permanently, which he and his Aunt Lily recognize is against his nature.
So the escape is a necessity for the entire group, not just the Buckleys.
Which brings us to the execution of the escape plan, the subduing of Randall. They use the cover of the boss's formal party to neutralize their guard.
And Grandpa, leveraging the professional medical knowledge that he previously just dismissed as useless, he mixes an unapproved FDA serum in the kitchen sink.
This is an incredibly high-stakes moment. Grandpa warns that if the stimulator injection is administered first, it causes paralysis. The sequence has to be flawless.
He's putting his past knowledge, the thing he clung to so stubbornly, to practical, life-saving use. It's his true professional redemption.
But the scene delivers a shocking reversal. Randall reveals he knew the plan all along. He was only pretending the serum was working.
He gets Grandpa in a chokehold and says, "It's easy to pretend it's working when it's not." This immediately shifts the power dynamic. The Buckleys are not in control.
Molly intervenes by pointing Randall's computerized handgun at him. And this piece of tech is fascinating. It's sophisticated, with settings that range from stun and tranquilize all the way up to fireball and shoot to kill.
And this is why Randall was so confident. The gun requires a thumbprint screen and a password to fire if the user isn't Randall. He felt secure in the knowledge that she couldn't actually shoot him.
But the real structural shock comes when they leave. Randall allows Grandpa to tape him up, and they just escape.
This is the moment we have to analyze deeply. Why would he let them go? He's risking being severely punished, maybe even killed by the organization, for letting them take his gun and escape.
The sources don't give a simple answer, but they confirm Molly's realization. Randall had let them go, despite the threat.
So what does that suggest?
It suggests a complex moral layer within the organization. Perhaps it was loyalty to Spill, or maybe a personal decision to draw a line at violence against an elderly, sick couple and a 16-year-old girl. It shows that even within a brutal shadow government, there are individuals capable of these small acts of mercy that defy the strict hierarchy.
So the escape now turns into this frantic race against the border clock, and it leverages the network of allies that Molly unwittingly built during her stay. First, Jane, the kind older friend from the train.
She provides a crucial safe house in Kelso, Washington. And this safe house allows them to perform essential modifications. They hide the Studebaker and paint it black to avoid detection,
masking its signature Hawaiian green color, a detail Grandpa mourns, which shows his continued sentimental attachment to the past even as he's literally driving toward the future.
And the alliances get more critical in Seattle. The brothers Elder Matthew and his group from the permanent campsite, They execute this massive diversion at the train station.
They just encircle Molly's family and sweep Randall and his partner away with the crowd, which allows the Buckleys to slip away completely unseen.
And Elder Matthew's motivation is crucial here. He agrees to help because he believes that sometimes you have to bend the rules when children are involved, and you are actively trying to do the right thing.
Which contrasts sharply with the amoral pragmatism of the organization.
Absolutely. This network of kindness, Jane, the brothers, it acts as the counter-infrastructure to the organization's system of fear.
Spill then organizes the final riskiest leg, high-speed passage on the runner boat, the Marybelle. It's disguised as this decrepit fishing vessel, but it uses military-grade technology for speed.
And Grandpa, Ever the engineer, is just thrilled by the tech. He's explaining the zigzag effect module that works in sync with magnetic float sensors to navigate swells at high speed.
So this ship isn't just fast, it's a piece of advanced black market technology, a clear sign of the resources and power the organization commands. They're capable of moving high-value assets, or people, with incredible speed and efficiency.
And Molly's description of that terrifying journey being like, chicken pieces Mom puts in a bag with flour and shakes up, it just captures the visceral, violent speed of that runner boat.
Before boarding the Marybelle, Molly has this final, crucial interaction that solidifies her power shift. She confronts Randall, who is still shadowing Spill, and she's holding his sophisticated handgun.
And she leverages the internal keyboard feature. She doesn't just render it useless, she neutralizes Randall's threat permanently by reprogramming the gun to her own password, Soriano, the name of the author of Grandpa's medical book.
It's strategic genius. She not only protects Spill from immediate retribution, but she secures a piece of advanced weaponry for herself. She completely upends the power dynamic that was established earlier.
She even taunts Randall as the boat leaves, confirming the reprogramming, making sure he knows the cost of his mercy.
Then there is the matter of payment. The captain demands extra gold for the heavy suitcase, which contains the Studebaker module and Grandma's essential mementos.
And Molly, prioritizing the module and the sentimental value over the gold, throws the payment to Spill, signaling a theft to cover the payment.
The physical, hard-won solutions like the module and the emotional anchors like the mementos, they're valued above the liquid currency.
And the final, heartbreaking sacrifice occurs at the Canadian border. They are met by this huge, bearded RCMP officer, and Michael, who Molly essentially kidnapped to save him from the organization's world. He has no passport. He risks foster care or deportation to the mainland.
So the officer, citing the need for a trade to overlook Michael's illegal entry and prevent quarantine, demands the highest price. Molly's precious fiddle, jewels.
And Molly, driven by this intense love for Michael and the necessity of family unity, she accepts the trade immediately. She completely forgets about the valuable gold hidden in her boot heel.
The price of safety and family unity is her music, her art, her most treasured possession.
It's a tragic moment of high-level sacrifice. It demonstrates that in a collapse world, the value of a secured identity and a safe future outweighs both gold and personal passion.
But the story ends with a powerful homecoming and resolution. Molly reaches her island. Her mom and the new baby Chelsea are safe.
And Grandpa, whose health was paradoxically maintained by the demanding urgency of the journey, integrates back into the family. He immediately starts questioning Mom about her health on the way home, reclaiming his role as the doctor figure.
And Brandy and Michael, the kids whom Molly risked everything for, are welcomed into the family. They fit in perfectly.
Months later, the full resolution arrives. Spill, Robert, appears. He successfully ran away from the organization and secured a legitimate, non-criminal job as a cobbler in Victoria. He's practicing an essential trade.
And he brings Molly a gift that completes his redemption.
Jewels, her fiddle. He explains he traded the sophisticated gun he recovered from Randall for her beloved instrument.
And the final scene is them practicing a duet Spill, having secretly learned Handsome Molly, and that's followed by a long-awaited kiss. The organization's world of violence and scarcity is defeated not by a government, but by an alliance built on trust, ingenuity, and deeply personal sacrifice.
So this deep dive really provides us with a critical blueprint for survival in a fragmented world. The post-collapse reality is defined by shattered infrastructure, which requires a reliance on black market economics and corrupt transit systems.
And Molly succeeded not just because she was bold, but because she understood the new power structures. She leveraged human connection, Spill, Jane, the brothers, as the ultimate currency for survival and escape.
The sources confirm the dual nature of survival. You need the hard science of engineering, like Grandpa's duct-taped Studebaker module, but you also need the soft science of human alliances.
Her journey highlights the extreme lengths required to cross borders and reunite families in a world defined by scarcity and failure. It demonstrates that the value of family literally becomes worth more than gold or music.
And that leads us to the final provocative thought. Molly's entire journey, her rescue, her mobility, her protection, it was only possible because organized crime, the organization, was willing to run high-speed runner boats, provide scarce resources, and move people across borders for the right price.
Right. And Randall even displayed a form of strategic mercy, choosing not to enforce the organization's laws to the letter.
So, if legitimate government-controlled travel has become this perilous and impossible, what is the ultimate long-term price society pays when we have to rely on the black market and organizations like the Bosses Network to facilitate even the most basic human need, mobility and safety?
And how quickly does that reliance shift from being a temporary, necessary evil to becoming the only acceptable new normal that replaces legitimate governance entirely?